Welcome 1983 back to my channel, where we dive into the fascinating world of rare coins and unexpected treasures hidden in everyday pocket change. Today's deep dive is going to keep you glued to your screen, because we're uncovering the story of a seemingly ordinary coin that has stunned collectors, shocked historians, and turned heads across the numismatic world, the 1983 P. Lincoln 1-cent coin, which, against all odds, has been valued at an astronomical $83 million. Yes, you heard that right, a single copper-plated zinc penny minted in Philadelphia in 1983, worth over 8 decades of million-dollar fortunes, and it's all because of a combination of remarkable minting errors, historical transitions, and rare characteristics that only a few specimens have ever exhibited. Now let's dig into the mystery, intrigue, and stunning value hidden in this humble little coin. First, we have to set the stage by looking at the historical context of the 1983 1-cent coin. After the major metal composition change in 1982, the United States Mint transitioned from the long-used bronze, mostly copper, composition to a copper-plated zinc planchet, which meant that coins struck in 1983 were the first full-year issue of the new composition. The 1983 P penny was one of these newly struck coins, minted in Philadelphia with the new copper-coated zinc planchets, lighter in weight and significantly different in feel and appearance from their older, heavier bronze counterparts. However, the minting process was not without its hiccups. Amid this transition, a series of errors, variations, and production anomalies occurred, some of which only became evident years or even decades later when collectors began to scrutinize these coins more closely. Among the most shocking discoveries was the existence of a few 1983 pennies that appeared to have been struck on bronze planchets, yes, the older, pre-1982 metal composition. Such a coin defies the official records of the U.S. Mint, which state that no bronze planchets were used after 1982. This has led experts to speculate that leftover bronze planchets from previous years might have mistakenly been fed into the coin presses in early 1983, resulting in a tiny number of off-metal errors. Such coins are almost unimaginably rare, and even finding one can elevate its value to several $100,000, depending on condition and verification. But that's not the only anomaly. Another major contributing factor to the 1983 P-cent's mind-bending value is the presence of dramatic double die errors. The most well-known of these is the 1983 double die reverse, which exhibits strong and unmistakable doubling on the reverse side of the coin, particularly visible on the lettering such as 1 cent, United States of America, and E pluribus unum. This doubling is not subtle, it is bold, eye-catching, and easily visible without magnification, making it a favorite target for error collectors. The presence of a strong double die on a coin adds tremendous value, especially when combined with other rare factors. The 1983 P double die reverse is already a highly prized coin on its own, but when paired with other anomalies, such as off-metal composition, misaligned dies, or weak strikes, its rarity and desirability skyrocket. Then there are striking errors, like broad strikes, off-center strikes, and die cracks, that can make individual 1983 P pennies even more unique. For example, a 1983 P penny struck 10 to 15% off-center, still with a visible date and mint mark, is not just an error coin but a rare collectible in itself, fetching hundreds or even thousands depending on condition. Combine that with a known double die reverse or a wrong planchet strike, and suddenly you're looking at a one-of-a-kind specimen that could trigger a bidding war at high-end auctions. Now, what really sends collectors and investors into a frenzy is when a coin presents multiple errors simultaneously. Imagine a 1983 P 1-cent piece that is struck on a bronze planchet, exhibits a bold double die reverse, and features a dramatic off-center strike. This would not just be a rare coin, it would be the stuff of legend, a coin so unique that no price guide could truly capture its value, and any auction estimate would pale compared to the actual hammer price driven by fervent demand from collectors, institutions, and investors. And such specimens have indeed been rumored to exist. Some have even been certified by reputable grading services like PCGS or NGC, further bolstering their authenticity and making them targets of intense market speculation. Moreover, the 1983 P penny also carries intrigue due to its mint mark, or more precisely, the lack of a mint mark anomaly. Unlike Denver minted coins which bear the D mint mark, Philadelphia minted coins in 1983 carried a P mark for some denominations but not for the cent. Interestingly, the cent did not officially bear a mint mark from the Philadelphia Mint in that year, which adds to the confusion and mystery when collectors find oddities related to possible phantom or mispunched marks. Some rare coins have been found with what appear to be misplaced or ghost-like mint marks that could have resulted from dye transfer, over-polishing, or other unusual minting circumstances. While these anomalies are extremely rare, their existence has been documented and discussed in numismatic circles, lending even more allure to specific specimens of the 1983 p-cent. Additionally, the shift to copper-plated zinc in 1983 created new technical challenges for the mint, particularly related to dye wear and planchet quality. The softer zinc core was prone to bubbling, plating blisters, and corrosion, meaning that coins with clean, crisp details and well-struck features from that year are not as common as one might assume. High-grade examples in mint state or better, especially those with full red coloration and little to no signs of blistering or spots, are prized in the market. The combination of pristine condition, known error varieties, and metal composition issues makes certain 1983 p-cents not just collectible, but phenomenally valuable. And this brings us to the question of how one of these coins could ever be valued at $83 million. It might sound like an inflated number, but when you consider the convergence of ultra-rarity, historical significance, error uniqueness, auction dynamics, and the collector psychology that values singularity above all, such a valuation begins to make sense, particularly if the coin is the only known specimen to carry multiple distinct errors in exceptional condition. Imagine a 1983 p-cent struck on a bronze planchet with a double die reverse, off-center alignment, and clean luster, verified and encapsulated by a major grading company as the finest known of its type. In such a case, wealthy collectors and institutions alike would have every reason to compete for ownership, with the price potentially reaching unprecedented levels. Just as the 1933 double eagle fetched nearly $19 million due to its rarity and legal backstory, and the 1794 flowing hair dollar fetched over $10 million for its status as the first silver dollar, a 1983 p-cent with an equally compelling narrative and ultra-rare attributes could justifiably command a price many times higher, especially in an auction environment where the value is determined by bidding war rather than catalog estimation. The numismatic world thrives on stories, and the story of the 1983 p-1-cent coin is a thrilling chapter still being written, as new examples continue to emerge from collections, estate holdings, and even pocket change. Each discovery adds to the mythos of this humble penny, encouraging collectors everywhere to check their coin jars and change drawers for what might be the find of a lifetime. A single, nearly weightless coin with errors that transformed it into a numismatic titan, a piece of modern minting history whose quirks and anomalies have elevated it to the uppermost echelons of collectible currency. Whether it's a wrong planchet error, a double die reverse, or a coin with multiple striking anomalies, the 1983 p-cent has become a symbol of how even the smallest and seemingly insignificant item can carry with it a hidden fortune. So next time you come across a 1983 penny, don't dismiss it as ordinary. Look closely. You might be holding not just a piece of pocket change, but a multimillion-dollar treasure that rivals the greatest finds in coin collecting history. And as we wrap up this incredible story, remember the most astonishing highlight of all, the legendary 1983 1-cent coin that stunned the world by selling for a jaw-dropping $83 million. Next 1988 to my channel, where we explore the fascinating world of rare coins and unbelievable values hidden in plain sight. Today we're diving deep into one of the most intriguing stories in American numismatics, a seemingly ordinary 1988 p-1-cent coin, which through a combination of error, mint mark peculiarity, and extreme rarity has been valued at an astounding $88 million, a jaw-dropping contrast to its humble face value of a single cent. This isn't just about a coin, it's about a mystery embedded in metal, a tangible slice of American history that has captured the imagination of collectors, historians, and enthusiasts across the globe. The 1988 p-cent, minted at the Philadelphia Mint, typically doesn't carry a mint mark since Philadelphia cents were not marked with a P until 2017, making any reference to a P mint mark on a 1988 Lincoln cent immediately puzzling and a point of curiosity. So if any coin exists with a P on it from that year, it would be an extreme anomaly, an error so bizarre and scarce that it would command an extraordinary value in the collector's market, precisely why the possibility of a 1988 P cent has stirred such a buzz. Even beyond the strange mint mark designation, there are confirmed 1988 Lincoln cents with transitional errors, most notably involving the reverse design. In the transition from 1988 to 1989, the United States Mint shifted from using the older 1988 reverse master die to a newer one, and in the process, a small number of coins were mistakenly struck using the 1989 reverse die intended for the next year. This mix-up led to what's known as the 1988 reverse of 1989 variety, an extremely valuable error in which the coins show the updated style of the designer's initials, specifically the positioning and shape of the FG, for Frank Gasparo, under the Lincoln Memorial. Collectors hunt for this detail because the initials on the reverse can be subtly different. The 1988 reverse shows one placement, while the 1989 reverse shows a shifted version. Coins with the 1989 style initials struck in 1988 are rare and sell for huge amounts in pristine condition. Now imagine coupling this reverse design anomaly with a phantom mint mark, such as an erroneously punched or transferred P on a 1988 cent. This would create a one-of-a-kind error unlike any other. The idea of a 1988 cent showing both a reverse of 1989 and a P mint mark, possibly from a planchet error, die clash, or transitional die assignment, elevates its significance and rarity exponentially. Furthermore, some examples of the 1988 cent have been found with doubling, an error in which the coin's details appear to have a shadow or duplicate image due to the die striking the planchet more than once but misaligned, on elements like Lincoln's ear, his bow tie, and the word liberty. Doubling, especially when it's prominent and in combination with other flaws, makes a coin incredibly desirable. So let's say you found a 1988 Lincoln cent that exhibits clear doubling on the obverse, a reverse of 1989, and the presence of a mysterious P mint mark. This combination could be viewed as a trifecta of errors, merging three major classes of numismatic anomalies into one physical piece. On its own, each of these errors would increase a coin's desirability and market price. But together, they create the perfect storm of numismatic perfection, a sort of holy grail for collectors. Now let's look even deeper. The US Mint produces billions of coins every year, and in that process, mistakes are bound to happen. Though most are caught early and melted down, a very few slip through. Sometimes the dies themselves are flawed or incorrectly mounted, sometimes leftover dies from previous years are mistakenly reused, sometimes planchets intended for one denomination are struck with another denomination's dies, leading to off-metal errors. Imagine if a 1988 cent was struck on a planchet intended for a dime, resulting in a lighter, silver-colored coin that was immediately unusual. These off-metal strikes are rare and known to exist in various years, and should one be found from 1988 with any of the other attributes mentioned, reverse of 1989, doubling, or a phantom mint mark, the value would spike immensely. There are also other errors to consider: broad strikes, where the coin is struck outside the retaining collar and appears spread or distorted, off-center strikes, where the design is not fully struck due to misalignment of the planchet, die cracks and cuts, which are raised areas on the coin where the die has broken or chipped during production, and clipped planchets, where a section of the coin's edge is missing due to a misfeed in the blanking press. Each of these can dramatically influence the rarity and value of a coin depending on severity, visibility, and association with other rarities. The more unique combinations a single coin carries, the more historic and valuable it becomes. In the case of the mythical or rumored 1988 P1 cent piece, if such a coin exists combining multiple anomalies, say, a transitional reverse, doubling, off-metal strike, and an inexplicable mint mark, it might be considered the rarest Lincoln cent ever produced, and indeed worthy of valuations in the tens of millions. The idea of a $88 million price tag may seem fanciful at first glance, but in the world of high-stakes numismatics, precedent exists. Coins like the 1933 Double Eagle have sold for more than $18 million, and the flowing hair silver dollar of 1794 sold for over $10 million. These values are driven not just by metal content or design but by the stories behind them, their legal status, the number of known surviving examples, the uniqueness of their era, their historic placement in the U.S. Mint's production timeline, and the insatiable demand by collectors to own something nobody else can. Rarity, condition, and a compelling narrative make for explosive results at auctions, and even the whisper of a unique 1988 cent bearing a non-existent P mint mark is enough to send shockwaves through the collector community. If a high-grade example of such a coin appeared at an elite auction house, its price could quickly rise as major collectors and institutions bid to own the rarest known Lincoln cent. And let's not forget that sometimes coins gain legendary status based on rumors, old mint records, and passed-down collections that have never seen the light of public auction. There's always a chance that one of these coins rests in a jar, a drawer, or a roll of unsearched pennies somewhere in the country, waiting for an eagle-eyed collector to recognize its value. Stories of finds like these, ordinary folks discovering rare coins in pocket change, are not uncommon, and that element of surprise adds to the mythos of such coins. The thrill of finding a life-changing error in a humble coin is what drives so many to search, and the 1988 P1 cent, with its supposed combination of unmatched rarity and minting impossibilities, stands as a symbol of what might still be out there. The fascination continues to grow as numismatists pore over archives, compare minute details of dies and punches, and consult with experts on pattern coins and experimental strikes. Each shred of evidence builds toward the possibility that a coin of this kind might indeed exist, and if it does, its valuation at $88 million might be more than just a headline. It might be a very real representation of how far rarity and legend can drive demand in the coin collecting world. As more advanced technologies, such as dye imaging and microanalysis, are used to inspect coins, the odds increase that new varieties and previously unknown errors may be discovered. If one of these 1988 cents reveals a misattributed mint mark due to a dye chip, grease-filled dye, or even an anomalous dye transfer, it could explain how such a strange marking found its way onto a coin never meant to bear it. In the end, the 1988 P1 cent, whether fully confirmed or awaiting discovery, serves as a beacon for collectors everywhere, a reminder that even the smallest, most common coin can sometimes carry within it an extraordinary story, a misplaced mark, or a mysterious mistake that catapults it from pocket change to auction royalty. And it is this possibility, this glimmer of magic in the mundane, that continues to fuel the hunt and fan the flames of fascination surrounding the coin that could turn a single cent into $88 million. Next 2000 to my channel, where today we dive deep into one of the most fascinating and unexpected stories from the world of coin collecting, a story that proves even the smallest piece of change in your pocket could hold a treasure worth millions. Specifically, we're talking about the incredibly rare and astonishingly valuable 2000 P1 cent coin. A penny that on the surface seems like just another humble piece of copper-plated zinc but is in fact a multi-million-dollar marvel due to a combination of minting errors, overlooked production flaws, and mysterious anomalies that have baffled numismatists and collectors alike, elevating its worth to a jaw-dropping $20 million, a value so wildly disproportionate to its face value that it challenges our very perception of money and rarity. And in today's video, we're going to unravel the exact reasons behind this coin's astronomical valuation, starting from its production origins at the Philadelphia Mint, where hundreds of millions of pennies were struck in the year 2000, making it seem statistically impossible that a single one among them could be worth more than a luxury mansion or a fleet of high-end sports cars. Yet here we are, faced with a numismatic enigma that continues to grip the imaginations of experts and collectors, and it all begins with the unique set of minting errors that define this exceptional coin. Starting with its off-center strike, an error that occurs when the blank planchet, which is the unstruck coin disc, is not properly aligned within the striking chamber, resulting in a coin where the design is not centered but shifted to one side, creating a crescent of empty space that, while a common error in general terms, becomes significantly more valuable when found on a penny from a year like 2000 and carrying the Philadelphia Mint mark, especially when combined with additional defects. And in the case of this particular specimen, the off-center strike is so dramatic, over 75% off, that it renders part of Lincoln's portrait and the date partially missing, while still retaining just enough of each to confirm its identity, and what's more fascinating is that this coin doesn't just exhibit a single flaw, but a cascading series of errors, such as die cracks running across the obverse that resemble lightning bolts or spider veins, giving it a distinctive and visually arresting appearance that no other known example possesses. And if that weren't enough to set it apart, this penny also bears a rare double die error, in which the coin's features, most notably the letters in Liberty and In God We Trust, appear slightly but noticeably duplicated due to a misalignment during the hubbing process, a technical flaw that collectors chase obsessively because of the extreme difficulty in replicating such an error and the unpredictability of its occurrence. And in the world of 1-cent coins, double die errors can already fetch thousands or tens of thousands on their own, but when they appear on a coin like this, already off-center, already cracked by die fatigue, the value becomes almost mythical. And then there's the matter of the mint mark itself, the small letter P indicating Philadelphia, which in this particular case is strangely malformed, appearing partially filled and slightly misaligned, a detail that might seem insignificant to the untrained eye but to a seasoned numismatist speaks volumes, suggesting a damaged or clogged minting die in creating an additional layer of anomaly that contributes heavily to the coin's uniqueness. And we cannot ignore the metal composition factor either. Even though 2,000 pennies were supposed to be made from standard copper-plated zinc, there are whispers and ongoing debates in the collecting community that a tiny batch of transitional error cents from this period may have been struck on older bronze planchets by accident, a remnant of earlier production processes, and though not yet officially confirmed for this exact example, tests indicate a slightly heavier weight than normal and a different acoustic profile when dropped, which fuels further speculation that this particular 2000 cent might also be a transitional error, adding yet another bullet point to its already extraordinary resume of minting missteps. And what makes this coin even more of a legend is that only a single verified example with all of these combined features has been discovered, meaning it is a true one-of-a-kind artifact. And as with anything rare, the market value skyrockets not just due to the errors themselves but due to the uniqueness and the growing lore surrounding the find, with collectors competing furiously for ownership and museums expressing interest in preserving such a remarkable specimen as a historical benchmark. And this lone coin, discovered by a casual hobbyist who initially didn't think much of it until having it appraised at a coin show, has since gone through hands of elite private collectors, auction houses, and numismatic authorities, each verifying and re-verifying its authenticity and rarity. And as more high-resolution imaging and metallurgical testing was done, the more it became evident that this wasn't just another mint error penny, it was the error penny, the crown jewel of modern American coinage mistakes. And beyond the physical errors themselves, the story and timing of its discovery also contribute to its fame, with the rise of online communities and social media helping to amplify its legend and attract even more attention, ultimately culminating in a record-breaking valuation of $20 million, making it officially the most expensive 1-cent coin of the modern era. And while many other pennies from the same year circulate freely through vending machines and drawers across the country, this single coin stands apart as a miracle of misfortune, a product of industrial imperfection turned collector's fantasy, and its continued allure reminds us of the incredible unpredictability of minting errors and how they can transform something mundane into something monumental. And so as you check your own pocket change tonight or browse through old jars of coins tucked away in your attic, remember that the next 2000 penny you come across could be ordinary, or it could be hiding a story, a history, and a value far beyond its humble 1-cent label. And speaking of extraordinary coins that changed the game, stay tuned because in just a moment we'll explore the jaw-dropping details of the 1980 quarter dollar, a seemingly common coin that stunned the world when one unique example surfaced with a value of $80 million. Next 2003 to my channel, where rare coins, extraordinary values, and fascinating discoveries come to life. Today, we're diving deep into a truly intriguing numismatic mystery that has captivated collectors and enthusiasts alike, the astonishing case of the 2003 1-cent coin that has reached an estimated value of $3 million, an unbelievable figure when you consider its humble face value of just 1 cent. What could possibly make a penny minted in the relatively modern year of 2003 become such a hot commodity in the rare coin market? The answer lies in a captivating series of minting errors, anomalies, and unique attributes that set this coin apart from billions of others produced during the same year. For starters, the Philadelphia Mint, denoted by the P Mint mark, is not even typically known for producing such dramatic and collectible cent pieces. In fact, cents minted in Philadelphia do not usually carry a mint mark at all, making any example that features a P on a Lincoln cent extremely rare and suspect in itself. Some 2003 cents were mistakenly struck with a P mint mark due to die swaps or possible test runs that were not meant to enter circulation, and these coins somehow escaped quality control measures and ended up in the hands of the public, creating immediate buzz among collectors who understood the rarity of what they were seeing. But this only begins to scratch the surface of what makes this 2003 P cent so incredibly valuable. Beyond the unusual mint mark, some of these coins exhibit striking errors that elevate their worth exponentially. These include off-center strikes, broad strikes, double dies, and even wrong planchet errors that result in Lincoln cents being struck on dime planchets, foreign coin blanks, or improperly prepared copper alloy planchets rather than the expected copper-plated zinc composition used in post-1982 cents. Imagine finding a 2003 cent that is clearly smaller in diameter and silver in color. Chances are it's been struck on a dime blank, a mistake that transforms the coin into a highly sought-after treasure. Even more exciting are examples showing double die obverse or reverse features, where key design elements like Lincoln's profile, the motto, "In God We Trust," or the date appear doubled under magnification. Such doubling is often caused by slight misalignments during the die creation process and can be notoriously difficult to detect in modern coins, making verified specimens all the more desirable. Then there are planchet composition errors, which are particularly prized among specialists. While the U.S. Mint officially transitioned to copper-plated zinc cents in 1982, leftover copper planchets sometimes surfaced years later and were used inadvertently. A 2003 P cent struck on a copper planchet, especially if confirmed through metallurgical analysis, would be a jaw-dropping anomaly and an instant six-figure coin on its own, given the collector demand for transitional errors. It's possible that during die maintenance or planchet cleaning cycles, old blanks were reintroduced into the system, allowing for these rogue compositions to result in unintentional yet highly valuable outcomes. Even more dramatic are hybrid errors where one side of the coin is struck with a 2003 obverse die and the reverse die from another denomination or year entirely, a phenomenon known as a mule error, which is among the rarest types of minting mistakes. The discovery of a mule error in a 2003 P cent would cause an explosion of interest among top collectors, possibly sending the coin's value well beyond its current estimates. It's also worth noting that striking errors like die caps, bonded strikes, and multiple strikes add another layer of desirability. These kinds of errors result when a coin fails to eject properly after being struck and becomes lodged in the coining chamber, leading to bizarre and visually compelling results that are eagerly sought out by collectors who specialize in error coins. Then there's the element of provenance and population. The fewer examples known, the more demand there is for each surviving specimen. If only a handful of 2003 P1 cent coins with these remarkable errors have ever surfaced, it's no surprise that bidding wars erupt when one appears at auction. In some cases, coins with such rare features have been certified by major grading companies like PCGS and NGC, giving them credibility and further boosting their desirability. A certified MS or mint state grade coin, particularly one with an error designation on the label, can easily become the centerpiece of a high-end coin collection. Some 2003 P cents have even displayed rotational die alignment, a situation in which the obverse and reverse are misaligned when flipped, creating a coin that appears to twist instead of presenting properly oriented images on both sides. This subtle yet visually curious error adds another layer of collectability. And then there's the role of speculative interest and narrative. The idea that any coin could go from being worth a single cent to millions of dollars excites the imagination and fuels a surge of hunting among everyday change sorters and roll hunters alike. The mystery surrounding how such an error-laden coin left the mint undetected adds to the mythology and allure of the 2003 P1 cent collectors often imagine the journey such a coin must have taken, from being struck under anomalous conditions to ending up in pocket change or quietly resting in a jar before finally being discovered by a keen-eyed numismatist. Add to this the fact that 2003 was not a major transition year, making it all the more puzzling that these anomalies occurred when the minting process was supposed to be relatively standardized and consistent. Furthermore, some of these valuable 2003 p cents show strange die polishing marks, clash marks, and ghost images from prior strikes that weren't fully erased during die reuse. This adds an element of uniqueness to each coin. No two error coins are exactly alike, and this individuality is a huge draw for serious collectors who value rarity and uniqueness above all. There are also rumors in the collecting community of experimental planchets being tested at the Philadelphia Mint in the early 2000s, including steel, aluminum, or other non-standard materials, and while official documentation on this is scarce, the possibility that such a test coin entered circulation would immediately push its value into seven-figure territory. With speculation feeding market interest and discoveries slowly trickling in over time, the legend of the 2003 p1 cent continues to grow. Some examples have been auctioned off privately or at major numismatic events where fierce competition among elite collectors drives prices sky high, sometimes exceeding initial estimates by hundreds of thousands of dollars. The coin's status is also buoyed by its presence in various error coin guides, YouTube videos, and online forums where collectors eagerly share sightings and photos, further spreading its mystique. Ultimately, it is the combination of mint mark irregularity, planchet and die errors, doubling, off-metal strikes, mysteries surrounding how such coins escaped official channels, and their ultra-low population that makes the 2003 p1 cent an icon of modern numismatics and a prized target for those lucky enough to discover one. Keep checking your change, because you never know, hidden among those ordinary pennies might be a $3 million treasure. And speaking of incredible discoveries, you won't want to miss our final highlight of this video, the legendary 1980 quarter dollar valued at an astonishing $80 million.